So in this video, we're going to be treating another very interesting topic, and that is generating images. The Laravel AI SDK provides abstractions that help you call the popular LLM providers, OpenAI, Gemini, and the rest, to generate cool, lovely looking images, high resolution, high quality images. Now, as we go into this chapter, I do want to note one thing. While experimenting with the AI SDK, I've noticed some immaturities in one or two places, which will probably be bug reports to the SDK itself, especially in this area of generating stuff and saving the files. I'm going to be pointing them out as we go, and we're going to be demoing some other cool stuff. But I'm just putting that out there. Some parts of the AI SDK seem to still be developing and will get some bug reports. Probably by the time you're watching this course, everything is fixed and everything works exactly how it is said in the documentation. But we're going to see a few of those stuff. Now, image generation is done with the image class in Laravel AI. Yeah, it's done with the image class, Laravel AI. You simply call the off method on it and call generate. The off method is where you pass in your prompt. And you just call the generate method and to generate your image. As you can see here, we're not passing through a prompt, and that is because for generating images, and as we will also see with generating audio, we don't need to go through an agent. So we're not going to be creating agents to be generating images or generating audio. We just simply call the image class, call the off method where we pass in the description of the image that we want, and we generate. C'est fini. So let's scroll down here and see some of the popular providers that support this. We have OpenAI, Gemini, and XAI. Those are the supported providers currently in Laravel AI SDK. OpenAI uses DALL-E or GPT image. DALL-E is getting old, by the way. Gemini uses Imagen. I was thinking we're going to use Nano Banana, but yeah, probably that is what Laravel can wrap right now. Like I said, a lot of things are still going to mature going forward, and by the time you're watching, some of you, by the time you're watching this video, probably is already using Nano Banana under the hood. Then XAI Grok Image is also supported. Now, when you're calling the generate method, you can specify the provider that you want. So you can say generate and provide a provider argument. And so yeah, use OpenAI. You can also provide an array of providers where it will use the first one and the others will be like fallbacks. So if you use Gemini and it doesn't go through, it will switch over to XAI, and if XAI fails, switch over to the next one and all that. So yeah, you can actually have failovers. Then we have some configuration options. You can set the aspect ratio for your generated image. You can say you want landscape, portrait, or you just want it to be square. So you can set that, the aspect ratio. You can also set the quality. You can generate your image at different levels of quality. It can be high, which is definitely going to be costing you more tokens. Medium, which is a balanced resolution. And also low. Probably when you want to generate things like probably vectors and stuff like that, you can just specify low so that you save on tokens. Then timeout, you also want to set a high timeout. We're actually going to be creating a middleware for timeout because generation is going to take a few seconds and that can cross your PHP timeout, especially if you don't have access to your PHP INI file. So we're just going to be creating a middleware to help us exceed any kind of default limitations for HTTP requests in PHP. So you can set that. Also, you can change these calls. You can say, yeah, I want the quality to be high, I want it to be landscape, and I want the timeout to be this value. So that's good, but there's more. Now, storing images, this is where you start to see some quirks in this SDK. So normally when you generate your image, you get a string representation of the image, just a raw representation. That's what you get back. But we want to store it so that we can view it. We are not trying to look at the binary. So you can call the store method, which will return a path. It will typically store it in your configured file system disk. If we go to environment, we go here, you can see where's that? File system local. And if we go to the file system configuration, you will see that the local disk is set to app private. So you just store it there by default. Let's go back. Now, if you want to store it with a name, you can use the store as method. So you can use the store as method to actually specify a name for your file. Now, if you want to store it publicly, you can use the store publicly method, and you can also use store publicly as, which is going to set it with a name. But one thing I've discovered is this: no matter what, let me escape from this. No matter how many times I use this, it will always store it in the private folder. Yeah, that's something I noticed. It will always save it in the private folder. This almost drove me nuts. Yeah, this wanted to drive me nuts. I changed to local in my file systems. I changed this to where's that file stuff. I changed this to public. It didn't go to public. It didn't go to public because it's from public that you can use a sim link to configure your setup so that you can view your files publicly. You can use a URL to view your files. But no, it will just keep saving it in the private folder. I even went to this and changed it to public. I changed this to public here. It still saved it in the private folder. So that was crazy. I don't know if any of you guys figure out. Just add it in the notes for this course. That would be awesome if you figured it out. So that's one thing I first noticed. Anytime you say store publicly, it will just save it in the private folder. It will just save it in private folder. No matter where else you want it to go, it will just save it in the private folder. That's one thing. Another thing is that you can do store as, where you specify a name, then you specify the disk that you want to store it to, whether private, public, or rather local, public, or the rest. The same file systems that you've set here: local, public, there's S3 and co. But one thing I realized is that this part that says that it will store it as a name, nah, that's not what it does. That is not what it does. This is actually going to be the name of the folder to store it in under this disk. Yeah, this is going to be the name of the folder to store it in under this disk. It's not going to store it with this particular name, or rather this particular file name. If you use a file name, it's going to write this as a folder. This is going to be a folder, and it's going to save the file inside it with an auto-generated name. So those are some very interesting quirks that I've noticed. You can also get the raw content of the image. You can just say string image and you get the raw bytes back. And also you can edit an image. You can use files, image. This is not a double. Yeah, it's a single one. Yeah, that's a single /. So you can say files image and you say from storage, or you can use any of the styles for getting an attachment in, whether it's from a URL, whether it's from an uploaded file. Just get it in and you describe the type of update that you want on the image. But this is also another one that I've found to be a bit buggy at the moment. Like I said, probably when you're watching this course, it's already fixed, but right now this is another buggy feature that needs to be worked on. But all the same, you can still store your files. I found a workaround to make sure that it stores in the public part. We're going to be seeing that soon. So we're still going to have some fun with this as we intended. So yeah, that's everything with the theory aspect. Let us get to some practicals. The first thing we're going to do, like I said, we're going to be creating a middleware for our timeouts. One thing I noticed is that most of your requests are going to time out if you cannot change the timeout settings in your PHP INI file. No matter, even if you go to env and go and set some sort of timeout value, it's not going to work. I think, yeah, session lifetime or something, it's not going to work. Even if you go to config and set it, nah, it's not going to work with this image generation. Only the middleware would work. So let us get that out of the way. I'm going to say PHP artisan make middleware, and I'm going to call this set global timeout. Set global timeout. So we create that middleware. Let's close out of this. Then I'm going to go and locate that middleware, open it, and what we're going to do here is that inside the undo method, we're simply going to come here and say set time limit. I'll just set it to 120. 120 is good enough. Set it to 120. So that will be our new PHP execution time. So once we do that, if you are in Laravel 11 or 12, you head over to bootstrap app.php. If not, you go to app/http/kernel to register this as a global middleware. So we're basically going to come here. The first thing we're going to do is to import it. We're going to bring in that middleware. And then we're going to come to the with middleware section and register it. So I'm just going to say middleware. I'll say append. I'll say set global timeout class. Good. So that's everything that we need here. Okay, I need to put a semicolon here. So that's everything that we need here. We set up our middleware. It is going to be good measure at this point to refresh the app so that middleware kicks in. Clear this and run php artisan serve once again. Okay, we're good. Now let us create the controller that we're going to use to run these generation demos. So I'm going to say php artisan make controller, and we're going to call this the API /chapter 4 / image generation controller. Image generation controller. So yeah, that's good. We can exit this and go back to, or rather locate that controller. Image generation controller, good. And inside here, the first thing we're going to do is bring in dependencies. We'll bring in JSON schema. So say HTTP JSON schema, or JSON response rather, not JSON schema, JSON response. Bring that in. Then we'll bring in Laravel AI files, and also Laravel AI image. So good. Now we can create our controller method. We're going to call this generate image. Say public function generate image, pass it request, and it's going to return JSON response. Okay, good. Let's validate our user request, which we're going to call prompt this time. Say validate prompt, and prompt is going to be required, going to be a string, be a maximum of 1,000 characters. Okay, good. Next thing we're going to do is to get that prompt, to request input prompt. Then let us generate our image. We say image equals image, like I said, we'll say off, image off prompt. That's what the user is describing for us to generate. Then we'll say generate, and even though if we go to, I think this is app, right? No, not this guy. If we go to our config for the AI stuff, our config for the AI, I set images to be Gemini, right? Yeah, images to be Gemini, or probably this was default, but yeah, images is Gemini. But like I said, with the issues with Gemini, I am going to be using OpenAI instead. The all rate limit issues I explained, just going to be using OpenAI. It works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes, but I would rather do without that frustration. So we use OpenAI as a provider, then we store it and get back the path. So we'll say image. Now for this, we're going to use the store method. Go to use the store method. Now, if you don't want any folder, if you want it to save directly to the folder that you want it to save into, you don't want a subfolder, just leave this as empty. Leave this as empty. Then I want to store it in public, because that's where I can get my URLs to point to the images and we can view it. So I don't want any folder, but save it in my public disk. This is how I was able to get it to dump it into public. So by specifying public and without any subfolder. If you want folders, feel free to add a folder name here. So we save it, then we can return our response, JSON, and then here we can say demo, and this will be basic image generation. Then our prompt will be prompt path will be where our image is stored. Oops. Path is going to be where our image is stored. And lastly, we have URL. And we'll get our URL by calling the asset function. So storage / and we'll just append it to the path. Just append it to the path. So this is good. Now we can attach an endpoint to this. So I'm just going to save this. Then we'll go to, let me close this. Close file systems too. Also close these guys. And then we can come to API. We're still in chapter 4, so we can continue to use this. Just going to copy this route. And here we'll say images / generate. Images / generate. That will bring in our image class. We're going to get it from here. So say chapter 4. Image generation controller. So then we can scroll down, have it here, and then pass the generate image method. So this is good, all good. We would like to jump to testing, but before that, there's just a little thing we need to do. We're going to be creating a symbolic link that would help us to link our public public / storage. It would link public / storage to storage / app / public, so that we can pick files from that public file and display it on the web, because we can only display things that are inside this public folder with a URL. So we want to symlink a storage link here to the storage / app / public folder inside this place, inside this storage place. So yeah, want to symlink to this location. So what we're going to do to set that up, simple and straightforward. We just need to run php artisan storage link. Yeah, php artisan storage link, and it will automatically do that. It says the public / storage link has been connected to storage / app / public. So good, because that's why I wanted my images to be saved in the public folder, not the private folder. So yeah, we have this all in place. Now we can test this endpoint. So here in Postman, let's test our endpoint. Our endpoint is images / generate. We can get rid of this, right? Let me just get rid of this too. What we need to send is a prompt, and let's create something interesting, something cute. A cute cartoon rabbit wearing a top hat and monocle. Yeah, like a Professor Rabbit. Yeah, I want to generate this, a cute cartoon rabbit wearing a top hat and a monocle. That's what I want to generate. Make sure you're hitting the right endpoint. And now we hit send. You see that this is taking quite a while. That's image generation, and that's why we had to increase that timeout period. And there we have it. Our response is back. It took 34 seconds. And let's look for, yeah, this is the URL. This is the URL. This is the part. You just specified the image. Let's just copy this. So we'll copy this, and I'm going to load it up here. Oh, okay, that didn't copy at all. Let us copy this. Yeah, say copy. Then let us load it here, and hit send. And boom, we have our Yeah, we have our rabbit. Let's pull this up. Yeah, we have our cute rabbit wearing a hat and a monocle. How lovely is that? How amazing is that? So cute. So yeah, we are generating images and it's looking pretty good. Let's see one of the customization options. Let's see how we can use one of the customization options. Let's go back to VS Code and inside generate image. Yeah, inside generate image, let us add some options. For example, we want the image to be landscape. We want it to be landscape, and also we want it of medium quality. We'll say quality, and we say medium. Want of medium quality. This time I'm going to be generating an image of nature, so that we can see that it's an actual like picture, not a cartoon picture, so that we can actually see the quality very well. So we set the quality to medium and we make it landscape. Let's head back to Postman, and this time we're going to say that I want to generate an image of nature with birds flying. With birds flying. Yeah, image of nature with birds flying. Let it send. That's also going to take a few seconds. And we have our response back. So let us check our image of nature with birds. Let's save that. Let's open another tab. Put it here. Hit send. And yes, this is our image. The image of nature with birds. Can you see? So lovely. Image of nature with birds. And if you notice, the quality is a bit it's not as sharp as a high quality, high resolution picture. This is the medium quality setting in place, but we've been able to generate this image, specify a quality, and so far so good.